Welcome to Daily Confidence for Entrepreneurs. My name is Mustafa Hussaini. Today we are talking about the importance of video marketing, and I've got an amazing guest. During this episode, you'll learn about why video has become a must-have for marketing. You'll discover the best ways to get started with video quickly and easily, how to overcome video blocks and procrastination, how to find your video sweet spot, and tips for gaining more confidence on camera, which a lot of people are lacking and they're probably looking for. My guest is Lou Bortone. Welcome, Lou.
Hey, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it. How you doing?
Great to have you. Let me do a couple of housekeeping items. As usual, please make sure that you like and subscribe to the channel, whichever channel you're watching or listening through. If you have any questions, post a comment and ask your question in a review or post them on our website. If you know anyone that could benefit from video marketing and becoming more confident at video marketing, please tag them in a comment on social media. Make sure that they get the message and you share the love with other people. And the other point I'd like to bring up is the confidence giveaway is coming up during the week of November 15th to 21st. And you're going to have many gifts to help you boost your confidence in different areas of business, such as mindset, strategy, sales and marketing, technology, and the rest of it. So for you to get access to the daily confidence, the confidence giveaway, go to dailyconfidence.show/giveaway, and you can download your gifts when it comes up. Now, let me do the proper introduction to Lou here, and we're going to dive into a very interesting conversation. Video marketing is very interesting, and I'm always interested and happy to talk about it. So, Lou Bortone has been a pioneer and thought leader in the video space since the launch of YouTube in 2005. He has helped thousands of entrepreneurs and companies create and leverage online video to build their brands and dramatically grow their revenues. Lou is a popular speaker, author, and ghostwriter of 6 business books. He's also the author of Video Marketing Rules: How to Win in a World Gone Video. Welcome, Lou.
Thanks so much. It's good to be here, and I'm always happy to chat about video.
Absolutely. So whereabout are logging in from?
I'm in Portsmouth, New Hampshire, about an hour north of Boston.
Beautiful. And what's the weather like?
It's rainy and cold and windy, and
Beautiful.
November. Yeah.
Now, gang, if you're watching or listening, we're talking about video and the power of video marketing. If you have any questions, pop them in a comment and in the chat box, and we'll do our best to cover it. Now, Lou, let's start with your story. What is your story? How did you get into the whole video world?
It's funny because I think I got into it when I was really young, because my dad worked at a TV station in Boston, and I would spend weekends there with him and run around. Like the TV station was my little personal playground. So there really wasn't anything else that I wanted to do but go into television. So I went to school for that, and I got a job. Actually, my first job was in radio and television, and I worked in the TV business for many years in Boston and Los Angeles. And I'm trying to remember when I came back to Boston about 20 years ago to work for a .com, because that's when everybody was sort of jumping ship and going to the .coms. That didn't last very long. And then I realized, you know what, I can just do this video thing. I don't need a TV station anymore. I mean, we were sort of at the point where YouTube was starting up, and it's like, we all have our own TV station. So that's kind of how I got into this.
Beautiful. So it's like a natural transition for you. You kind of grew into it.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because I think I had a little bit of hubris coming from the TV business, like, oh, how hard could this be? But then the online world and online video is much different from traditional television. Although these days, like our, kids and our younger folks sort of see it all as just a screen, or, they don't care where they get it, whether it's online, on a phone, on a tablet, on a big TV, it's all just a screen to them.
Interesting. But they have integrated pretty well, though. Like
Yeah.
the TV and the online world
It's
they're
really
pretty
come
well
together.
integrated.
We used to talk about the word back in the day was convergence. Like, oh, someday this is all going to come together. And it took a little bit longer than many of us thought. But now there really is no distinction between television and video. YouTube is TV, TV is YouTube. So it's kind of an interesting opportunity for entrepreneurs because, like I say, it's like we really do have access to what 20 years ago, 30 years ago, only 3 or 4 big networks had access to these kinds of audiences.
Absolutely. So what do you do? What do you do these days, and who do you serve?
I work with entrepreneurs and small business owners and help them with their video marketing strategy. So it's marketing and branding, but sort of leading with video and taking advantage of the fact that you can reach a lot of folks really easily and quickly with video. So I really help them with the overall strategy, and that's everything from what kinds of videos should they be doing to where should they be posting. So how can they integrate video into their overall marketing strategies?
Absolutely. Now, this is going to sound simple, but what is video marketing?
Video marketing is really any marketing that you do using video. And that could be, doing a video on YouTube. It could be sending somebody a video email as video outreach. It could be live like this. So really anytime you're doing visual marketing, you're doing video marketing.
Absolutely. All right. And why is video marketing so powerful?
Well, one of the reasons it's become so powerful is that the pandemic really accelerated the growth of video and accelerated the need for video because suddenly we couldn't be together. We had to be socially distanced. I mean, I know it looks like we're sort of in the same room because I've got the same background as you, but video became even more important. It was already growing quickly, but the pandemic really accelerated it because instead of being at events or networking and things like that, we had to rely more and more on video. So, Zoom use of Zoom went up something like 8,000% in a month, last year, and it's really kind of leveled off there, and it's just become the way we connect, the way we engage, the way we communicate.
Absolutely. I think a lot of people that are now used to this are not going back to.
Hmm.
Look, I just heard that people don't want to leave their house anymore. A lot of people, and a lot of companies went like, was it Amazon or some other company that they have now like 10,000 people permanently work from home,
Wow. Yep.
and they just announced it, and they're just getting used to this. They're like,
Hmm.
"Oh, this is nice. I don't have to pay rent for office. We could communicate through video and get things done virtually." And
Yeah.
and the results are there, and they speak for themselves.
It's a new world. I mean, I know my kids who are grown, 23. I have 23-year-old twins, and they've both been working since they got out of college, but they've never been in an office. They've always worked remotely from the day they graduated until now. And my daughter's company did the same thing. They sold the physical building, and now they're completely remote.
Absolutely. Now, Lou, can you give us an example of a successful video marketing campaign
Hmm.
that maybe you've done in the past? Like, this is what happens, and here is how maybe it revolutionized or created results for someone that maybe you have worked with.
Yeah, for somebody that I use an example for somebody I didn't work with, but because it's such a well-known example, I always go back to the um, Blendtec blenders had these industrial blenders. Maybe you remember this. And on YouTube, they decided to do their own little show called "Will It Blend?" And they would drop iPhones and all kinds of things into these huge industrial blenders. And that really, that viral campaign took off on YouTube and really put them on the map. So having seen that, I mean, I've done, I haven't put anything in blenders and blended them, but just the fact that you can use, a little bit of creativity and a little bit of fun and basically create your own kind of television. So a lot of what I do with clients is not necessarily trying to get them to do wacky things, but think a little bit, I hate to say outside the box because it's so overused, but really think about how they can use video to be more of a force in their clients' and customers' lives. So I have one client, for example, that does a video series, and she puts it out every Tuesday religiously. And she's, little by little built up, built up, built up, built up. I had another client in Costa Rica who had a vacation property there. And she started doing videos about why come to Costa Rica. And this is somebody who had never been on camera. And some of her videos have 500,000 views, and her beach property is completely like sold out 2 years in advance. So it's amazing that like she was saying, well, I'm way down here in Costa Rica. What could I possibly do that's going to help my business? And I said, you'd be surprised. You just put those videos on YouTube, and off you go.
So then what does she cover in her videos? Just talk about different
Yeah,
attraction spots for.
I mean, because she's in Costa Rica and she literally lives on the edge of a rainforest. She can do these on location videos where she's talking about best time of year to come to Costa Rica, or is it safe to come to, exchange rates, anything about travel. So she got to be known not as only as a person who has this amazing oceanfront property that she rented, but also as kind of a bit of an authority on Costa Rica. And as an American who had moved there permanently, she was sort of like an expat. So she really kind of had that credibility. And again, even though she wasn't, even though she didn't have like a lot of technical skills to begin with, it was really more of the idea of like, okay, well, I'm here. I'm gonna share what it's like to be here. And suddenly she's got, I think that her video that had like 500,000 views was like basically it was a sloth, like watching a sloth and a sloth's baby. So things like that. It's like, oh my gosh, just show real life, show examples, and try to capture some of the magic of where she is.
So I mean, she could talk about everything and anything about around
Hmm.
her area, and then there's no limit to what she could talk about, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. So the only downside of it for me was I can't afford her place now because she's raised the price so much. So, but
Good
that's
for her, but
yes, yeah. So,
you need to pick up a new client there.
mhm,
Good stuff.
yeah,
Kipil says, I always give the student, he is a student's, the Blendtec examples, super easy concept for them to grasp.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
really you know.
Very
And
interesting.
it's the other part to remember of that is that it's relatively low budget and low production quality, but it doesn't matter just because the idea is so memorable.
So here's a question for you. How long do you give your campaigns and your videos bef to expect results?
Hmm. It
You know,
really depends on what you're promoting and on the client, but I always tell folks that video is a marathon and not a sprint. You can get results quickly and you can get awareness quickly, but it's not. It really is something that you have to build over time because regardless of what you're promoting or advertising, people have to know, like, and trust you before they buy from you.
so I am absolutely with you 100%. What do you say to people that they say, "Oh, I've done like 5 videos and I got no results."
I say do 50 more and let me know. But I know it's 'cause, I was always, it's funny because even though I've been on YouTube since the very beginning, I used it more as like, oh, I'll just put my videos there. I used it more as a hosting platform. So it took me a few years, and it wasn't until I did, a Trump song parody that one of my videos got 500,000 views, and that one just blew up. And it's like, so it's like, hey, if I did that for my first video, it just depends on the timing, and it's like catching lightning in a bottle. But I have thousands of videos on YouTube over the past 17 years, so it does take time, but it only takes one video sometimes to kind of hit the magic spot.
Do you like happen to know which video is gonna take off, or is it like
Um, that's a
just
little bit hard.
just to finish my thought? It's like sometimes we don't know which one is gonna take off. Have you ever been surprised?
Yes,
Is what I'm
absolutely.
trying to say.
Yep. Um, and because there are sometimes when you do, you sort of follow all the rules. It's like, oh, I used the right keywords and I was, short to the point and I was entertaining. You kind of put everything in there, but then it's just some other, like I said, some goofy video. Um, I'll give you an example. I was testing a new webcam and my pug was sleeping on the floor and she snored. So I put the webcam on the floor to capture the sleeping pug just to see if the webcam worked. And I put it online. I'm like, oh my God, my dog Stella has 20,000 views. It's a snoring pug. So, who knows what people are going to react to.
You never know. Just like your earlier example with the sloth, was you're like, she was just filming a sloth, and then it took, was it 500,000 views?
Yeah, something like that. It's crazy. So, I mean, the important thing is you want to be consistent and you want to, do the right things, like have a good call to action, have a really, interesting hook or introduction, because people are going to decide in the first 7 or 8 seconds whether or not they're going to stick with you. So, you want to do the right things technically, but you also want to have content that's going to engage people, and you don't always know exactly what's going to hit.
Love it. I guess the solution is just keep going, be consistent.
Yeah.
And something you mentioned like before we started was doing it religiously
Hmm.
or with discipline, like every day, every week, or
Yeah.
however often you do it, so that over time we build on it.
Yeah, that's the thing. And when I mentioned, marathon, it's like somebody could say, I don't understand. I ran the first 5 miles of that marathon really, really quickly. It's like, yeah, but the last 25, the last 20 you crawled. So,
Yeah,
so
it's like you gave up just a tad early.
mhm.
So interesting. So what's the best way to get us started if people are camera shy or they're afraid of being seen or they have that fear?
It's funny. I had the same, I'm an introvert. I don't particularly like being on camera. I came from the TV business, but always behind the scenes, always on the marketing and advertising side. So when I first started, I would use, kids and pets and props and, things to sort of take the attention off me. Which is why, I had my dog, my pugs in the video so often I had to put them on my website because everybody's like, where's the pug? Where's the pug? Um, but a lot of it really just has to do with consistency, like you said, and just keeping at it. And if you're getting started, I think that live video, things like this, Facebook Live, YouTube Live, is one of the easiest and sort of low hanging fruit ways to get on video because it doesn't necessarily need a lot of production. I know we do this with StreamYard, so it looks uh, cool. But again, if you just do a regular Facebook Live and you think about it, you don't have to edit it. You just put it out there and it's done. So that's a good way to get your feet wet and to sort of dip your toes into the waters if you're just starting out.
Hmm. How if I'm afraid of being seen and being visible out there,
Mhm.
what do you think is like the best way to overcome that fear?
Honestly, it's really just it's practice and putting yourself out there and start slow. Maybe just do Facebook Lives to your Facebook group so you feel like you're in a safer environment. Oftentimes, when I do like 30-day video challenges, and I'll let people put videos in the Facebook group, but only people in that group can see it. So it gives them a little bit of a kind of an off Broadway chance to get comfortable with it. So again, it really just comes with practice. Even now, as long as I've been doing this, I always get a little twinge of like, oh my God, what if I look like a fool? So, but then again, what's the worst that can happen? So some of
Absolutely.
it's just a matter of like, you know what, if you want to be in business and you want to be an entrepreneur, you can't afford not to be seen and not to do things like videos. So sometimes you just got to suck it up and do it.
Absolutely. Kapili's asking, Lou, what are your most important video KPIs?
Um, it isn't always views, believe it or not. It's not always judged by the number of views because I want to make sure that I'm seen by the right people, not necessarily by the most people. So at the end of the day, my biggest KPI is, am I generating revenue for my business and am I generating leads? Am I getting clients? And that's, obviously it's fun to make the goofy parody videos and I get tons of views on those, but those don't necessarily help my bottom line.
Love it. Like aiming for business instead of like views or clicks and likes and this and that. Like,
Yeah, and I think that, it's like somebody, I don't know who, maybe Gary Vaynerchuk calls them vanity metrics. It's like, well, it's nice to have, but it doesn't necessarily pay the rent.
exactly. Like, I don't care how many views or likes I have. If I'm broke and I'm not paying my bills, then
Mhm.
it doesn't matter how popular I am on YouTube,
Yeah,
unless I'm monetizing it.
yeah, I did a video one time when my kids were in high school and they came back and they're like, "Oh my God, Dad, some of us friends saw your video and they thought it was hilarious." I'm like, "Well, that does me absolutely no good at all because I'm not marketing to high school kids, So
That's
it's like, yeah, that's nice. It's fine for the ego, but it doesn't do anything for the business."
interesting. So, what are some good ways for people to get now before I dive in my next question, going back to the fear piece,
Mhm.
I've been doing this for a couple of years now. And before that, I was really comfortable being on stage and talking to people face to face.
Mhm.
But I remember when I was first trying to go live on Facebook and LinkedIn,
Mhm.
I had that fear of like, oh my God, people are gonna see me.
Mhm.
And then I had that fear, and I was like, uh, stuck like doing it in the beginning. But then I thought to myself, that's how people see me every day.
Hmm.
Like when I'm out and about and I go to Walmart and I go to outside,
Hmm.
that people see me. I can't hide. So
Yeah.
it's okay if it's that, and that's how I look like. And because sometimes I'm like, oh my God, I
Hmm.
sound terrible. And then I'm like, dude, that's how you sound.
The first time when you, I don't know if you know it, I'm older than you, but when you were little, the first time you heard your voice on a tape recorder, you're like, that's me, you know? So,
The answer is yes, that's you.
it is, it's tricky, but again, and it's the funny thing is speaking from the stage is a lot different than speaking virtually, which I think a lot of us found out in the last year and a half, because you're basically, right now in a room by yourself talking to a little green dot. I mean, I'm talking with you, but you have to look at this. The camera's up there and there's not an audience and you can't get the energy of, we know people are watching, but you don't have the advantage of feeding off of their energy.
Absolutely. Yeah, it is different. So I guess one advantage of going live is you can get some feedback
Hmm.
from people. And
Yeah.
if you have an audience that watch you live, maybe by questions and reactions and all that, you'll know.
Yeah, definitely. And that's why I like Facebook Live and things like that, because you can get a little bit of the back and forth and answer questions and give shout outs if you recognize, oh, I can't believe so and so is here, and other people like in the TV business are like, oh no, you're not supposed to acknowledge the audience. You're not supposed to break that glass screen. But on live video and on online video, it's much different. It really, you do want that back and forth.
Absolutely. And I think it will probably even drive your views and engagement up and higher, and you'll get more views
Hmm.
if there's that engagement.
Yeah.
Um, do you have any tricks and tips for actually driving engagement up?
Well, like you said, it's and getting folks involved is great. So that's why I like to do interviews and panel discussions, because two heads are better than one, and there's people that you can feed off of, and so those, it's always a good idea. Like if you're trying to kind of establish yourself, and you say, well, if you're not quite ready to do video by yourself, then do a video podcast or a show like this where you have a guest and you can kind of share the stage and share some of the responsibility for engagement. Other than that, it's really a matter of, when the video's done, whether it's live or pre-recorded, you really have to promote it like an event. You can't just kind of, post and pray and put it on YouTube and hope something happens. You have to let your audiences and your followers know that it's there, and you have to promote it. I mean, I take videos that I've done 3 or 4 years ago, and if they're still relevant and not, perishable, I might resurrect it and throw it back up on YouTube or Facebook, because maybe people didn't see it the first time around.
Absolutely. So given the current year and where we're at right now,
Hmm.
why should we be doing more video marketing in 2021 and the upcoming 2022?
For sure. Well, a lot of folks, like we talked at the beginning a little bit about a lot of events or traditionally live events are not necessarily going back to live. They're becoming hybrid events. A lot of folks are just expecting to get their information and entertainment this way now. They don't necessarily have to, get on a plane to attend a conference. They don't necessarily have to go to a networking event to be on a Zoom panel with 20 other people. So a lot of it's just been kind of, the pandemic kind of forced our hand, and maybe we're heading that way anyway. But it's really, really important to be able to put video as a part of your business, because so many people and so many of your clients and customers expect to have hear from you that way.
Absolutely. Absolutely. A video has been important, I think, all the way along.
Hmm.
Like since the emergence of YouTube and Vimeo and all that.
Hmm.
But I think now that people are spending much more time online and on social media, to have a presence, you've got to have
Yeah, I
the
think
videos are
the
important.
statistic I saw for 2020 was that 96% of consumers increased their online video consumption. Maybe because they didn't have a choice, but if you're not on there, then people don't see you. I always tell my clients, if people don't see you and don't know you, they can't buy from you. So
Absolutely. So, what are some of the most common mistakes that business owners make when it comes to video marketing?
The biggest mistake I see business owners making is that they wait too long, or they think it needs to be perfect, or they say, well, as soon as my new webcam comes in, or I need to get a better microphone. And honestly, with the phones that are out these days, you have a studio quality camera in your pocket with most of the phones in the last 2 or 3 years. So there's no excuse not to get started. Although some folks do procrastinate because they feel like they need all the right gear, or they need to have everything look just perfect. It's more important, quality uh, is content is more important than quality, is what I was trying to say. So that's one of
Absolutely.
the things. And then the other thing is just making time for it, or thinking like, oh God, I gotta do a video. It's like a chore. It's like, well, if you do it, if you just commit to it once a week and you do your video once a week, then you're out there, and at least you're being consistent. Oftentimes I will batch record videos. So if I say,
Yeah,
okay, it's quiet at the house for a change, and the person next door isn't mowing their lawn or blowing their leaves, so I'm gonna do 3 or 4 videos and then drip them out over the next 3 or 4 weeks.
absolutely. Absolutely. Like we have a commitment to every Wednesday at 2:30 Mountain Time to
Hmm.
run the show.
Yep.
It's there, and unless something happens, we go live every Wednesday.
Yeah, that's great, and especially being able to do live, because the consistency is important. And people, even though you can stream and binge watch now, all the way back to the sort of the TV example, that there's such a thing as appointment viewing. Like, people just expected that, okay, Seinfeld's going to be on at 9 o'clock on Thursdays, when it was on. So that appointment viewing philosophy, I think, still holds.
Absolutely. Louis asking, Kapil is asking, Lou, why do you think Vine and Prescope failed?
That's a really good question, because TikTok and other similar formats are doing really great. So I think some of it is kind of hitting the right place at the right time. So maybe it's a little bit of luck, um, and maybe just knowing your audience. I mean, that's the thing with TikTok, is just taken off with younger viewers, obviously, and it's not drastically different than some of those other formats. I remember there was a format called Blab that I loved, that I would do all the time, and I had a co-host and all that kind of stuff. And it just didn't have the staying power. There's a ton of competition out there. Whenever something's successful like Instagram, they're either going to get bought by somebody like Facebook, or they're going to get imitated. And now YouTube is doing shorts in response to TikTok. So a lot of it's just, if you can get enough traction without being swallowed up by somebody bigger, you may be able to survive.
Absolutely. I think I could be wrong, but I think maybe their name might have something to do with how lasting their brand or their name could be. Like some names are like really temporary names,
Yeah.
and some of them they last forever.
Hmm.
Do you have anything?
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, because I think about a lot of the things that went away. Even Periscope, which I guess is going away, which was bought up by Twitter. It's like, well, does their
Yeah,
name say what they do, or is their name just catchy enough to be? There's something about TikTok and Snapchat that just, like, I can remember those. It's like Vine.
yeah,
I had to think Vine. Oh yeah, yeah, I remember them. So.
yeah. Like Periscope. I to me, if I hear that for the first time, I think it would be like a horoscope kind of website, or
Hmm.
like you could read your horoscope,
Yeah.
and maybe that's part of it, maybe not. I don't
Yeah, I'm
know.
sure that there are focus groups and advertising people and all that would uh, try to think of what's what. Like, there's an app that I love, which is a little bit like Zoom with a lot more creativity, called MMHMM. I'm like, okay, that is a weird name, and I don't know why they use that, but maybe it'll catch on.
Yeah. I know for a fact that name plays major role
Hmm.
in like stupid names, like they probably wouldn't take off, or they would have to spend a lot of time and money and resources to establish a brand.
Hmm.
Hmm. What are what is like if someone is getting started, what is the best platform to start with for video marketing?
A lot of times I talk about finding your video sweet spot, which is really about what's the best platform for me to use where I'm comfortable and technology wise I can handle it. And your sweet spot is basically the intersection of your favorite platform and your clients or audience's favorite platform. So if I love TikTok, but my audience is over 50, then that's kind of a mismatch. But because I like doing Facebook and I like doing Facebook Live and a big part of my audience is there, that's kind of part of my sweet spot. So the platform really depends on what do you like that your audience also likes so that you'll actually do it. So um, again, I didn't really use YouTube as a promotional vehicle for the first several years because it was just like, oh, it's all skateboarding dogs and goofy stuff. And eventually it's like, okay, well now my audience is there, so I have to be there.
So do you recommend business owners start on YouTube?
I think YouTube is probably one of the, you can't go wrong, universal sort of like it's just so big and so influential and covers so many audiences. In fact, the largest growing demographic on YouTube right now is 55 plus. So I don't know if that means that, old folks like me are just discovering it or getting older, but YouTube is one of those like, okay, well, yeah, of course you have to be on YouTube. And then what else? Maybe Facebook because they're also so big with video, LinkedIn because you want to be more business-like or there's such a huge business audience there. So again, it just depends on where can I find my audience? Where can I best connect with my audience?
Interesting. Is there a good easy or is there a tip on finding out where they hang out, like which platform they hang out on? For
Yeah,
someone that's getting started, like they have no clue like
right.
where people hang out.
Yeah, and I mean, demographically, there's the sort of general things like, okay, I know that TikTok and Snapchat have a much younger audience, so if the vast majority of their viewers are younger than, and my audience is not younger, then I'm probably not going to want to be there. But part of it's also that when I say finding the sweet spot, it's like you have to experiment a bit, and you have to say like, okay, well, I put the same video on LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube and it got 17 views on YouTube, but it got 900 likes on Facebook. It's like, okay, well, you kind of look at the results from the different platforms, and you kind of get a sense of, okay, this is where my audience is reacting best to my videos. Even now, even though I use YouTube and they have more reach, I get more traction and reaction on Facebook than YouTube.
All right, now I like that, and I think there's some testing that needs to be done. Like, there's no surefire way of saying,
Yeah.
"Here's a magic wand, get on YouTube, and you'll become a billionaire." Like, you got to test it.
Yeah. So experiment, find out what works for you, where your audience responds, and for some folks it's LinkedIn. Some people only do LinkedIn video. It's like that's where my audience is. That's where I get the best response, and that's fine if that's where your audience is.
Absolutely. One thing that we do is like right now, as we speak, we air this live on every channel that we have, and that's how we do it.
Yeah.
If I get responses on Facebook, perfect. Like some topics we do well on Facebook, some topics we do well on LinkedIn, and but like I'm not going to eliminate, say, YouTube or Twitter,
Right.
because I don't have any beef with them. Like,
And the other thing is the great thing about video is you can do that. I mean, you can go to simultaneous platforms all at once, or if you post a video to YouTube, you can still post the same video to Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, wherever,
Yeah.
depending on lengths and stuff like that. But there's no reason. It's just too easy not to just click, yes, I will share this to Facebook, or yes, I will upload this to LinkedIn. So why not?
Why not?
You want to
Exactly.
give
Why
your
not?
audience every opportunity and every possible chance to find you. Don't make yourself
Absolutely.
hard to find.
Like, even if I need to post the same content manually on different platforms, it's going to take us a bunch of time.
Hmm.
So I'm really happy with the leverage that we got, say, with the StreamYard,
Yeah.
to just air it live on as many platforms as possible.
Hmm. Yeah. That's one of the things I love about StreamYard is you can kind of get a bigger bang for your buck because you are going to several different platforms.
Absolutely. Lou, what are the latest trends with video marketing?
Hmm. There's a lot. It's funny because especially with the last year and a half, that's kind of put everything sort of upside down. So aside from the fact that just more people are using it, one of the trends that I see and that a lot of folks see and that I really like is personalized video. So even though, we just talked about going to as many people as possible at the same time, there's also a really good argument for going to one or two people at a time, because you can create that personal engagement. So I use video email. I use things like Loom or Dub to send video emails or to follow up with video emails, because it's just more memorable and more impactful. And people are gonna, they're gonna get 500 emails a day, but maybe only one or two video emails. So those they're gonna pay attention to. So one of the biggest trends that we can all take advantage of is just personalization and customization. So as much as you want to reach as many people as possible, you also want to sort of narrow cast and say, I'm going to send this message to Mustafa and only him, and it's going to be for him, and I'm going to mention his name, and he's going to know it's just for him. So there's
Absolutely. I like that. It's like personalizing your message. I know I heard Tim Ferriss talking about it when he wrote the book, The 4-Hour Work Week. He wrote the book for one specific person.
Wow.
And that's what he was saying. And that's part of the reason why it actually took off. He wasn't trying to please the entire world. He's like, there's this one person that I'm going to address it to. And that's how specific he got with his target market or his niche. I really like that idea.
Yeah. So I like personalization. That's one of my favorite trends. Obviously, there's also, a trend towards really short, micro videos like TikTok and YouTube Shorts and things like that are really catching on. I've found it's, for as a business person, I'm still struggling with, like, what's the best way to do that it's not just some goofy dance or something, but it actually, creates business.
I actually saw a software called Lately.ai. Have you come across that?
No.
So Lately is an AI software that you could upload your video. It will transcribe it. And you can make like short 1-minute videos or however long you want. And then you could post it across multiple channels. And it will schedule it for you. It's actually really smart. Like Gary Vee and a bunch of other people that I know use it.
Lately.ai.
Lately.ai, if I'm not mistaken, with the site, but it's called Lately.
Yeah, because short videos are not going away. So, if there are tools and resources that you can use to make it easier to create them, you would think it's really easy to create, but I think it's harder to squeeze your message into 15 seconds than it is.
Yeah, it is.
Being able to say, I'll just do a 3-minute video.
Yeah. Like, for example, this very conversation that we were doing right now, there's a ton of golden nuggets in there. If I could upload it, say, on Lately and say, Lately, I want you to create 15-second, or I don't know what are the limitations, but let's say I want 30-second videos out of this clip. It will do it.
That's cool.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah. So short and sweet. That's another, just another way to, and that's another thing I like about video email and video outreach is that, I can do a 15-second, hello to somebody or happy birthday or whatever, and it's done. And it didn't take me 2 hours,
Yeah. I know on Loom, you could do it real quick.
Yeah.
Turn on the camera. Hi, Lou. Happy birthday. Hope you have a great day. Yada, yada. And as soon as you press finish, it automatically copies the link into your clipboard. So you could just paste it and press send. Done.
Exactly. Yeah. And there's, I follow a company called Vidyard out of Toronto, and they're really great as far as video outreach. And one of the things they talk about is if you're doing video outreach or if you're trying to reach somebody, and you do a Loom, you can go to that person's LinkedIn page and do the Loom from their page. Hey, I was just looking at your profile and I saw yada, yada, yada. Somebody who goes on screen and sees themselves on their LinkedIn page, they can say, oh, okay, well, this person's, it's just going to catch their attention because you're not just some random salesperson calling from out of nowhere. You're on their LinkedIn page.
That's a brilliant idea.
And another example that Vidyard used was there was an account exec who was trying to get into, I think it was Buffalo Wild Wings, like to have a meeting or something like that. So he did a video where he said, I'm going to try to deliver this message while eating your hottest wings. So he's eating Buffalo Wild Wings in a video to Buffalo Wild Wings, but it's the wings are so hot he can hardly get through the message. But it's like, okay, well, that got their attention,
Very interesting. Great ideas there. tell us about your gift, your what you're sharing with us, your Zoom
Oh, right.
background.
Yeah. Well, now, obviously, since we're all on video all the time and we're all doing Zooms and lives and things like that, a lot of what's happened is we're using these virtual backgrounds. Um, and on StreamYard, the brick wall is one of the backgrounds you can use, but on Zoom, you can use virtually anything. I did a video the other day. I was promoting a retreat that I'm doing later in Tuscany, and I had the Tuscan hills in the background, and I got a glass of wine, and I put some birds sound effects and stuff. So people didn't know. They're like, "You're in Tuscany?" I'm like, "No, I'm in green screen land." So I've shared just a bunch of really fun, cool green screen backgrounds that you can use in Zoom or in other virtual meetings.
Yeah, you could use it on StreamYard as well. You could just
Yeah.
upload it.
Yep,
Mm-hmm.
that's really
Great.
fun.
That's a great gift.
Yeah, and I did one the other day, like as a joke, like I missed, I was late for a meeting or something like that. So I had a jail cell background, and I said, "I'm really sorry I missed the meeting, but I have a really good excuse. I've been incarcerated, and so there's just a million different things you can do with those
Oh yeah, you
backgrounds."
could get really creative with that. Love it, love it. Lou, what's one thing people could do today to get better with video marketing?
Honestly, it's really just doing it more consistently. So if they had to do something today, I would say try to do a platform that you've never done. Go live on Facebook or StreamYard, or try a YouTube live, or record a video email that you're going to send to a prospect using Loom, for instance. So just take a platform, any platform, and try a video and just see how you feel with it, because you might find, oh my gosh, that was easier than I thought it would be.
Very interesting. Yeah, give it a try. Like you're not gonna die.
You won't break the internet.
Yeah, you're not gonna get a heart attack. Like just do it. It's okay. You'll survive. I survived. Lou survived. A bunch of us have survived.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, I
Um,
mean, I think, like, again, the worst thing that can happen with video is like, okay, I may get disconnected because there's a power outage, or you're going to hear my dogs barking in the background, but that's life, and that's how we work now. So,
Love it. Love it. Love it. Gang, so if you're watching or listening, go download Lou's 50 plus virtual backgrounds that you could use for Zoom or StreamYard or any other platform that you could use. That's very valuable. And you can get very creative with that. And go reach out to Lou, as he definitely knows what he's talking about. He's been doing it for a long time. And I know that he is a trusted expert and professional when it comes to video marketing. Lou, can I ask you some personal questions?
sure.
All right. What's a new thing that you have tried recently?
Do you mean equipment wise? Video
Anything,
wise?
personal, business, equipment, life.
Wow. I am like a bright, shiny object aholic, and I tend to buy a lot of techie things and things like that. So I tried, I'll show you because I'm not using it right now, this thing called Center Cam, which is a camera that is just simply on a wire so that you put it on the top of the computer. The idea is that rather than looking down at your screen like this, you will look at the screen, and the camera's right in the middle of the screen. So you look at the camera more. So those are one of that I just got and haven't really even experimented with that much yet. But I just like the idea of like saying like, oh, okay, instead of looking up there where the camera is, I can just look straight ahead and it feels more natural.
Love it. What is that called again?
Center Cam. And it was like
Center
a
Cam.
Kickstarter, Indiegogo kind of project. And again, I think it was like, I want to say it was like $100 or something, but just to be able to try to, say, well, let me see if that makes my videos look better or more natural, because I'm looking at the center of the screen rather than this way or that way.
Oh, and where do you buy that?
I think it's just available on centercam.com, but originally when I got it, it was on, I think it was on Indiegogo, one of those kind of Kickstarter campaigns.
One of those projects. Okay, got it. Lou, what are your favorite top 2 or 3 books, business or life, books that maybe have made a massive difference to your life or
Wow,
business?
that's a really good question. All right, you're gonna laugh at this one, but honestly, this is like my Bible. Like The Godfather, I think, is a brilliant business book. So that's and I have Italian background that I won't go into too much, but that book hit a nerve with me. So that's one. Another more traditional
You
one.
know, I'll remember not to mess with you
Yeah.
anymore.
Another one is Book Yourself Solid by Michael Port. Um, I was so impressed with that book that I became a student of his and became a Book Yourself Solid certified coach. And that book is all about marketing and selling for people who don't like marketing and selling. Another one that's much more recent that I really like is Building a Story Brand by Donald Miller. And he really talks about the hero's journey and how to put story into your videos and story into your websites and the importance of telling a good story.
Wow, I am definitely going to check that one out.
Hmm.
Well, all great books.
Hmm.
Book Yourself Solid, Godfather, love it. And so obviously, The Godfather is a story, like
Yeah,
a fiction.
yeah. And that one's, it's a fiction novel from 50 years ago or something, but obviously they made the movies and things like that. And I don't know if it was because of my Italian background and where I grew up, we had a lot of people like that in our neighborhood. But I look at it like, wow, these are really good, business ideas. Keep your friends close and your enemies closer, and make them an offer you can't refuse. And like, some of that stuff is works for business without
Love it.
breaking any knees, hopefully.
Or using baseball bats, I
Right.
guess. Yeah. Did you grow up in Italy or?
No, I grew up in Boston, but in a really Italian neighborhood in Boston.
Love it. Love it.
Mhm.
I always want to hang out with Italians. You know,
Most of
they're,
them are okay.
you guys are a cool bunch. So
We got good food, and so it's funny because when I hadn't been to, I've been to Italy several times, but I started to do my mastermind retreats there because I'm like, look, if I'm gonna be with a group of people for a week, I don't want to be in a conference room at a Sheraton or something like that. I want to be someplace really fun and unique. So,
love it. Lou, what's one advice that has made a massive change in your life?
ooh, wow, that's a tough one. Um, I think, it really sounds a little trite, but my dad used to always say, just keep at it, because persistence is going to put you in the top 10% no matter what. And it's the same whether it's video or baseball or whatever hobby you might do. It's really just a matter of sticking to it.
Love it. That's an important message. Persistence and keeping at it until you get there.
Hmm.
Because, like you said, like the marathon that your example you used earlier in the show, it's like a lot of people give up way too early.
Yeah. Yeah.
And hmm,
Yeah.
that's a
But
good
the
one.
same can be said of video or pretty much anything. It's just like, it's not everything is hard before it's easy, right? So so you might as well get through the hard part.
Absolutely. If you had a Facebook or a Google ad
Hmm.
where everyone on the web, on the internet around the world could see,
Hmm.
what would your message be for the people of the world?
Wow. Other than like send me $1, because if everybody in the world sent me $1, I would have a lot of dollars.
Yeah,
So
that
aside
would be
from
a good one.
that blatant marketing, I really think it would be like, your message matters, and there are people who need to hear it. So get your message out there. If you're not doing video, or you're not writing that book, or you're not doing whatever message is inside you and getting it out there, you're sort of cheating somebody out of your message. So.
Very interesting. Your message matters. Get your message out there.
Mhm.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Lou, what advice would you give your 20-year-old self?
Oh, wow. Um, That's a really interesting one. I was trying to think of some wise ass answer, but I can't really think of anything too funny. So I would think just take more chances. Don't
What's the story behind that?
don't be so conservative. I think, again, coming from, my dad grew up during the Depression, so he was pretty conservative and risk averse. And I think, however much of that I inherited, I think if I took more risks, and I'd probably be even further along today.
Interesting. Yeah, taking risk I think it's a must for life, and
Hmm.
we just can't be too safe. We can't play too safe. So
Yeah, yeah.
very well said. Lou, this has been an absolutely amazing conversation. Is there anything you would like to add that we didn't talk about?
I don't think so. I mean, I appreciate the opportunity to be on here. I don't do a ton of these because I am a little camera shy, but like I said, I'm trying to put forth an example and practice what I preach. And it's like, if you've got a message, this is a great way to get it out there. So keep at it.
Love it. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it, gang. If you're watching or listening, go out there and download Lou's 50 plus cool Zoom or virtual background images that you could use basically on softwares and platforms like Zoom or StreamYard, and use it for marketing your business. You could find Lou at loubortone.com. If you Google his name, I'm sure it will come up. And do reach out, because video marketing is important. It matters. It makes a difference. I like the fact that like video is very engaging. And personally, I'm very lazy. I don't like to read. I like to watch videos, and that's part of why actually people consume a ton of video and content. So, and it does make a difference, and it can make a difference for your business. And when you work with a pro and an expert like Lou Bortone, it also makes more, you can make more difference out there. So do reach out to Lou. Just another reminder, the confidence giveaway is coming up during the week of November 15th to 21st. And the theme of our giveaway is to help entrepreneurs boost their confidence in different areas of business. And to get that, you could go to dailyconfidence.show/giveaway to download your gifts and get access to that. As usual, make sure to like the show, subscribe. If you have any questions for me or Lou, pop them in a comment on any platform that you're watching, and we'll make sure to get back to you. Lou, thank you again.
Thank you.
Really appreciate your time and expertise in sharing your knowledge and wisdom. And I'm sure we'll chat soon more.
Look forward to it. Thanks so much.
Thank you for joining us. You've been listening to Daily Conference for Entrepreneurs, and we'll see you next week with another episode, another expert, and another amazing topic. Have a great day, and see you later. Bye now.